Welcome to this week's Lucia Capital Group Weekly video. The Secure Act 2.0 was passed at the end of 2022, and there are dozens of provisions in it that may potentially affect you and your retirement savings. What I want to focus on today has to do with required minimum distributions, or RMDs. The RMD is what forces you to draw certain minimum amounts from your tax-deferred retirement accounts, like traditional IRAs, 401k plans, SEP IRAs, etc., once you've reached a certain age. Now, last year, that age was 72. Starting this year, it increases to age 73 and then goes up again 10 years from now to age 75. So if you were born before 1951, your RMD age is still 72. So anyone who had an RMD last year will have another one this year. Anyone born between 1951 and 1959 has an RMD starting at age 73. And those born in 1960 or later won't have to start their required minimum distributions until age 75. Now, what this means for everyone born in 1951 or later is that if you don't need the money from these retirement accounts to live on, you can leave those funds where they are for at least a little bit longer. Another change that Secure 2.0 brings is a reduction in the most draconian penalty in the entire U.S. tax code, which charges you an extra 50% tax on any missed required minimum distribution in any given year. Now, that penalty has been reduced to 25%. Still high, but not as bad as before. And by the way, if you catch your mistake and make up for the shortfall within a brief window of time, as defined by the rules, the Act reduces the penalty down to just 10%. There's also a change in the required minimum distribution rules with the Roth 401k plan. For whatever reason, up until now, Roth 401k accounts were first and foremost a 401k plan, and owners had required minimum distributions, even though the account was funded with after-tax money. The only way around this was to roll the Roth 401k balance into a Roth IRA, which is not affected by required minimum distributions. But the problem with this was that if it was a new Roth, you could wind up violating the 5-year rule for Roth IRAs and potentially have to pay taxes on the growth within the account. No more. Secure 2.0 now treats Roth 401k plans more like Roth IRAs and excludes the Roth 401k from the required minimum distribution rules. One other provision has to do with annuities. In prior years, if your account had both an annuity and a non-annuity part, you had to do a separate calculation on the RMD for each one, which in some cases increased the amount you had to take out. Now you can combine the distributions, which should make the calculation a lot simpler. Now, earlier, I mentioned that the age for RMDs for tax-deferred accounts has been increased, and you can now wait a little longer before you're required to remove the funds and to pay taxes on them. But you still need to ask this question: is delaying the distribution always a good idea? Maybe not, at least not for some people. If you take advantage of the later age for RMDs offered by the Secure 2.0, your account balance could potentially be higher due to those extra years of potential investment returns. In addition, at age 75, your life expectancy factor will be smaller, 24.6 rather than 27.4 at age 72. Now, why is that important? With a higher balance and a shorter life expectancy factor comes a higher required distribution. And a higher distribution means a higher tax bill for you, maybe even pushing you into the next bracket. What's more, that higher taxable income could also increase taxes that you may owe on your Social Security retirement benefits, as well as your Medicare Parts B and D premiums, which are both based on your income. Now, that's not to say it's a bad thing, but it does mean that strategizing for required minimum distributions is even more important now. Your Lucia Capital Group advisor can go over your situation, do a tax analysis, and maybe update your strategy to see if there is a position that may be more advantageous to you. And you should do this as soon as possible, because you don't want to find out too late that you're paying more in taxes that you might have otherwise had to. Now, we do this kind of tax planning every single day here at Lucia Capital Group. How can we help you the most? Just give us a call.